So on this particular question, we have two solutions, and they want us to write the quadratic equation that gives us these solutions. Now, of course, on a multiple choice test, you could technically solve this one, see if it gives you those two answers, solve that one, see if it gives you those two answers, but that's not the correct way to do it, and that takes up way too much time unless you get really lucky. The safest or best way to do this would be to work everything backwards. Now remember, a quadratic equation, something that's ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. How do we solve this? We usually factor, and then with the zero product property, split them, set them each equal to 0, and solve. So the idea here is to work backwards. So down here we should have our answers of -1/6 and also the answer 8. Now the question is, where did the answer 8 come from? Well, it came from a binomial that was set equal to 0. So obviously right here it says x equals 8. It's not set equal to 0. So I would subtract 8 and subtract 8. That way you'll get the binomial where it came from, x minus 8, which was set equal to 0. That's where the binomial that was set equal to 0 provides the answer x equals 8. Now over here on this one, how do you get the answer x equals -1/6? Well, you would have to first multiply by 6, and you'll get 6x. And then you'll still have equals -1. And then you would have to get rid of that -1 by adding 1 and adding 1, thus giving you 6x plus 1 equaling 0. So I hope we understand how we got from the answer x equals -1/6 to the binomial that's set equal to 0, 6x plus 1 equals 0. I hope we understand how we got from the answer x equals 8 to the binomial x minus 8 equals 0. It's working backwards, right? This is the answer. This is the binomial that was set equal to 0 that gave us that answer. This is the answer. This is the binomial set equal to 0 that gave us that answer. Okay, so what happens when we were solving a quadratic, you factor it and then you split them and solve. But right here, they're already split. Let's actually put them back together with the zero product property. So I'm going to say this binomial times this binomial should equal 0. Let me write that down actually. 6x plus 1 times x minus 8, that should equal 0. And of course, we want it as a quadratic trinomial, ax squared plus bx plus c. We don't want it as a binomial times a binomial, so let's actually distribute. And 6x times x, that's 6x squared. 6x times -8, that's -48x. 1 times x, that's positive 1x. 1 times -8, that is -8. And of course, it's still equal to 0. All we have to do is combine the like terms here, the -48x plus 1x, giving us a final quadratic trinomial in standard form of 6x squared minus 47x minus 8 equals 0. So the question was, let's scroll over so you can see that question. The question was to write a quadratic equation with those solutions. So what is the quadratic equation? This is the quadratic equation, 6x squared minus 47x minus 8 equals 0. So let's take a look at the multiple choice options. 6x squared minus 47x minus 8 equals 0. That would be this answer right here.